Hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. I was sitting here. I was going to make a video because I saw some information. I was going to make a video. Bam, really fast. And then something happened. I reached for the Bible. I was going to show you this. And then I picked a scripture that had nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing to do with it. And then I started reading the scripture. And then in my mind, it's as though I tried to curb the scripture to fit this. And it's not like I tried to twist the scripture. The scripture that I picked was enmity between, the seed and the serpent. The seed of the woman and the serpent. I mean, really, it ain't even that far. In a next to scenario, leg bones connected to the thigh bone kind of thing. Yeah, they connect, but it really has nothing to do with straight to the point. And I'm really shocked that happened. But as it happened, and as I was deleting what I was going to show you, it made me ponder about what I was going to show you. And then I thought about the trickery of what I'm about to show you. And no, not that I tried to curb the scripture, because I really didn't try to curb the scripture. It's just the best way to explain it, But the trickery of what was revealed. That's the fucking kicker. All right, so what I'm going to show you is going to, of course, highlight something that I've been saying for a long time. All right, so I'm very happy, and unfortunately, my happiness is getting darker. Okay, so I'm very despicable. Yes, despicable. Yes. So I'm getting very happy. So it turns out we're at the 100-minute mark of African and Native American ancestry, and we're gonna buy this book. We're gonna film ourselves buying this book, because this book, man, what a book. I'm not a big book reader. I'm not a guy that gets a book and then reads the book from start to finish. I'm a guy that reads the book and then I find what I think is the gold mine, and then I'm already outside of the book tracking that gold mine. Trying to find the pieces of the nugget that are scattered till it leads back to the gold mine. But the gold mine could be at the end of the book, and I would never know because I don't finish books. Yes, I know that's ironic. Read. And yeah, I read, but I don't finish books. It's just because, once you've been taught all these lies, and then something deviates you from what you've been taught, you're like, whoa, the truth is over here. And then when you're just staring at the truth, it's so much to take in. It is so much to take in. So what I'm going to show you is, this changed my whole fucking day. Wow. What I'm going to show you is... Anthropologically. Study of bones. Anthropologically, study of bones. Dead humans at this point, since he's going to talk about humans. Means all bones, but we're going to talk about humans.
Dr. Leakey went to find the origin of man. Where did he go? Africa. Did he find the origin of man? Yes. Who did Dr. Leakey say was the first man on the earth? Did he say it was a white man, a yellow man, a brown man? Who did he say it was? Black man. So the white anthropologists agree, right? Wait now. How many of you have ever studied biology? Raise your hands high. Don't be bashful. Thank you. Now there's a man in biology, his name is Mendel. He's a Caucasian. I never met him. But Mendel was studying the genetic makeup. And Mendel said, dark skin is dominant. Light skin is recessive. Dominant means strong. Recessive means weak. Mendel said light eyes are recessive. Dark eyes are dominant. Then Mendel went on to say, you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. What was Mendel saying? That if two white people were the first people on earth, we never could have come here. Because the white man cannot produce a black man. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing.
Now I want you to listen very carefully. Alright? Now, and don't get things twisted out of proportion. Not everyone that we call white people are white people. The class that you call Mediterranean, where the Pope sits, these people have blood diseases that are like your blood disease. In fact, their blood disease is actually like the opposite of your blood disease. Your blood disease, my blood disease, is sickle cell anemia. Their blood disease is thalassemia, something like that. Alright? They're not all the same. They're unified to be the same. Alright? But just listen, he creates a good point. And remember, there are Canaanites that are considered Caucasian because what the Bible calls leprosy, which is different from what man calls leprosy. So when you chase the Bible's leprosy, remember it's not going to say the same thing that man says leprosy is.
The white man cannot produce a black man. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing. Are you listening to me? Who's the Native American? Whitey's not a native. Who's the Native African or so-called African? Come on. Who's the Native Asian? Who's the Native Australian? Who's the native of South America? If the white man is not a native nowhere on the earth, that means he's not natural to the earth, then the question must be asked, where did he come from?
Alright, so that is a very valid question. If all these people do call themselves natives, then where does the non-native come from? Again, when we look at Wales, they say these people came from an island that's periodically under the sea. You cannot find this island. On this mythical phantom island, there is a entrance that leads to under the earth. When they speak of Greek knowledge, the Greeks talked about a place where you could go and it leads under the earth. It is where you find the boatmen. Hence, this stuff started with the pillar of the boatman, Isus, leading to Odin. See how it's all connected? Like I'm just not making shit up. The Welsh came from a hole in the ground, an island, hole in the ground, where nobody can find. Now they live in a place adjacent to England. The banking system is run by the Welsh, the Red Shield, the Rothschild, the Red Dragon, the story of the little boy and the Red Dragon. We'll get to that. Thus, all the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries slaves of Iberia Peninsula were of all color and of many nationalities, including Greek, Slav, Slavic, Czechoslovakia, Turks, Egyptians. You see the Turks today, they're so pale you think that they're white. The Turks are related to the Indians on this soil. Look at the 2012 Trojan Horse Indian Act, where people of Turkey can come over here and live on Indian reservations right now, to this moment. Egyptians, classified as Arab, visually seen as black with poofy afros, hanging afros, similar to the Hebrews, just darker skin. Asians, these were all slaves. Indians, Americans, and so on. Yes, Americans were enslaved in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century in the Iberian Peninsula. This is what this book is telling us, and this is the importance of grabbing this book. This video author is just masterful. It's wonderful. We should all take a moment. Should all take a moment and thank Sincere Jaden. It's a wonderful video. Wonderful video, sir. Alright. The Christian Castilians possessed slaves from many kinds in the 13th, 14th centuries, and whom were many Moros or Morenzo, children of Moros, perhaps Moreno. Some were classified by color, white, black, Lauro, as Catulia, while a few in 1266 were called Mamluks. Mame for hair, locks probably for hair too. Slaves in Arabic. See, Arabs can't grow locks, so Arabs calling you a slave. Easy to identify based on your mame, your hair, or your looks. Especially soldier lives. I don't know what that is. See, there's a lot of things in this that we should be looking up. Both Spaniards and Portuguese had become accustomed to financing their wars and expeditions by seizing men, women, and children wherever possible. Well, see, now that's how they rolled. Now they just went and snatched people all the fucking time. Now you see Dom Diverses 1452. You see the Spaniards and the Portuguese, what? Getting approval by the Catholic Church to come over here and snatch people. That doesn't mean they're going to Africa and snatching people. They're just claiming that. They're telling you in these books, and when you get this book, it tells you where they get this credited information from. Hence, I need this book. Look at the damage you could do in court against these people with a book like this. Look at those people. Wow. In 1565, there were more than 6,000 slaves in Seville, including Muslims from Granada, Turks, Berbers, black Africans, Americans, and so on. Reportedly, the inhabitants of the city were not really white or black, while other sources state that there were as many Pritos, dark people, as whites. 67, there These were joined by other slaves later, including 2,000 Turks, Greeks, and Slavs, Slavic, like Czechoslovakian, sold in Cadiz as a result of a victory in Austrians over the Turks in the late 17th century, page 68. So they did the same thing back over there on that side of the world that they did here. Or they did here what they did on the other side of the world. They went around making war with people, and when they defeated them, the people that remained, they enslaved them. You're told in the Bible that the world is given over to the hands of the wicked. You're told by the Moors through paintings that these freaking beast-type things with horns came from the force and overthrew them. You're told through literature that Caucasian slaves sprung up and overthrew Moors. Okay, so it's getting weird. And when they start saying, you know, in the last one, listen to this. Then there, as many were dark Pretos as whites, and these were joined by other slaves later, like the Turks, the Greeks, and the Slavs. Now, these are paler races. So even these pale races, we know that what the Turks look like. We assume that the Greeks were whites, but we can see obviously that these whites overthrew the Greeks. And we see that the Slavs look like dirty Germans, but the Germans enslaved the Slavs. Okay, so now we can see some of the people that maybe suffered leprosy. Maybe. Like the Turks, like the Greeks, like the Slavs. Again, I state maybe. Now, this is very interesting. Now, her name is taken off the caption down there at the bottom, but her name will be given in the next picture. Now, this is Maria Tallchief. Now, when you look at her in this picture, most people, unless they had somebody in their family that looked like her, would probably not think she's of Negro blood. A lot more people would probably say, oh yeah, well, just looking at her, oh, she's an Indian or something like that. But most people would speculate from the black and white photo that it's too hard to tell what she is. Some people would think that she's maybe of a Caucasus race, but you couldn't say she looks like she's German. You really couldn't say she looks like she's Italian or anything like that. Again, most people viewing because of their viewing of people that live in cities with them today, they can already tell that she's of some sort of Negro heritage. But when you see her name, then it starts to say something weird. Her name is Maria. Okay, that's not an Indian name. And it doesn't matter that Maria isn't an Indian name. We should just look at this Indian name because it's Tallchief. So this is someone that looks Negro-esque but isn't Indian. Osage Nation. Alright, so now you've seen dark-skinned people. You've even seen people with thick afros linked to Indian nations. Now you're starting to see someone that's of a yellow or a cream perspective that still retains some sort of afro look in her facial features, even though it's not defining. Again, if you look down here, I'm not sure if she's wearing a headpiece. But there's dreads down there, and I can see that. And this is why I make these statements. I'm not just looking at this and this. I see this down there. I don't know if if you can see that or not. Again, my LCD for the camera is broken. That's why we have so many shitty videos. So just type in Maria Tall Chief, you know. And she passed away. It was 1925 to 2013. All right. Now, here you go. I cannot tell if before that they had a name at the bottom or anything. Yeah, it makes such a jump right there to talk from. Yeah. Let's just go on. In 1599, a traveler. Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, just check my notes. In 1599, a traveler coming from Portugal noted that in Ayamonte, somebody brought up earlier that the Japanese dropped the H for the name Haya. And they go with Aya. So Ayamonte. And also in Gibalion. In that area, there were many black and darkish brown women from the Americas and from Sao Tome Island who were so beautiful and amorous, lovely, that the local males often married them. Alright, so these women are being brought in as slaves, and these men are just like, fuck that, they're too beautiful to be slaves. Like, you know, obviously, you know, they're so unique. Look, it's teeming with black and brown women. So they have plenty of quote-unquote slaves to choose from just to be servants. And these guys are like, whoa, I want more. Like, these guys, you know. So imagine Hitler going to school and reading about this. Wait, you started to marry them? Oh. It's probably his first seizure. So, it was so beautiful and amorous that the local males often married them. Valencia, as a major port on the Mediterranean, was an important center for the transshipment of slaves to Italy and other parts of Spain. The situation was quite similar to that of Seville, in that there were many loros called lors or Yiros, 2 L's make a Y. Yiros, double letters in Spanish make a Y sound. Lors or Yiros. Large numbers of Muslim slaves, loros, Negroes, and blancos. Even large numbers of black Africans. Now, they go blancos and then they separate that to say even larger numbers of black Africans in quite a few Canary Islanders. So, you know, anyway, Asian, Indians, you don't see that combination too much, do you? Asian Indians and Americans. So, note they say and Americans. Africans and Native Americans, page 40. Don't ask me what book this is. Now look at these kids. These look just like the damn kids down the street, don't they? You cannot tell me you're watching this shit and you ain't tingling all over your fucking body. That's your spirit coming alive. That's you and the source becoming one. Because your mind is forced, subconsciously your mind is forced to recognize this fucking truth. There's no way you can get away from that face. That looked like the girl down the street from you and you know it. Half of you, that looked like your fucking wife. And you know it. They just don't grow their hair long enough to see what their hair looks like when it's grown out. We live in this quick society. And all women will not take the time to see what their hair looks like when it's fully grown. My hair right now probably goes to right there. Right there. Same thickness. Looks exactly the same if it was braided. All women do not have the time and patience for themselves. They will not even for what God gave them to be unique from everyone else with. Don't this look like your angry mama? Tell me it don't. This shit ain't funny no more. These look like relatives. Many more Americans, Canaries, and Muslims are classified as Loros, while some Americans, many Muslims, and almost all Asian Indians are classified as Negroes. Now, do you understand what's going on right there? People that are from America, people that are from the Canary Islands, which is not by Americas, Muslims are classified as Loros, while some Americans, many Muslims, and now thrown into the Asian Indians are classified as Negroes. Isn't that something? A high percentage of Loros seem to be of Muslim extract from North Africa. Now look at that. African Muslims, Arabs, that look like Americans are classified as Negroes. So are they distant relatives, or are they just a separate branch of people that look like us? Germans look like people from fucking Scandinavia. People of Scandinavia look like people from, Wales. People of Belgium look like the people of Iceland. So it says the Americans look like the Muslims, and Asian Indians look like Americans and Muslims and people from the Canary Islands, and they're all classified as Negroes. Now either we're all related, or we're all different. Nonetheless, Muslims extract from North Africa, that would be the Berbers, or are said to have been born in Spain. Nonetheless, there are a number of Loros who are not identified by place of origin. And this is on page 40. So we're all classified as Negro. Now, this is like one of the best pictures you're going to get, because you have the chief's feathers. You have, see the waistband as well? You have clubs, arrows. Here, you have your buck naked Indian chief. You have the image of... Now listen, this is before the camera's invented. This isn't some fucking kid drawing it with a crayon. These are accredited scholars. This is what I try to tell a lot of you. These pictures are fucking gold. The following are a list of known Americans arriving in Valencia to be registered through 1516. So, what's about to go on this list are actual people that they have legal proof existed and were from America. Now, I don't care if the list is short. I don't care if the list is long. I don't care if it says there was only 3. I don't care if it says there was only 23. It's proof. You could literally crack this book open, find the origin source, and take that source into court and say, we're not from Africa. No. As you read prior, it said there were Africans and Americans in Europe. So that means they didn't bring the Africans to America. They brought all of us to Europe. And they used the thieves and criminals set out to seize the lands of the indigenous people, to subjugate them, as we read from Dum Diversus 1452. There is not one piece of information that is not more important than the other. They're all needed to show the evidence of their destructive pattern. Proving history repeats itself, and it will happen again. And they'll use the same pattern because it's successful. We are many different nations that don't trust ourselves just because we're all dark-skinned with afros. So when one person says we should leave, or one person says we should get together, there's always somebody against that because they have a different program running through them. They're from a different nationality, still labeled black, but it's their nationality's program. And we don't know each other's nationality. We don't even respect that we're different nationalities. But we sure don't say hi to each other in public. We sure ignore each other in white society, but we sure will say hi to white people before we say hi to black people. Because that's the overlaying program that they programmed us with. Our nationalities program is what God gave us. And that's why we can never come together as one unless we do it under God. And if God doesn't want you, He put in your program to worship a different God, period. And to always hate the Creator. Following is a list of known Americans arriving in Valencia to be registered through the year 1516. June 6, 1509, Martin, 10 years old. So they brought a 10-year-old boy. It's from Brazil, Terra de Negros, land de Negros, land of Negroes. Do I need to go any fucking further? The kid's from Brazil, the land of Negroes. Above Brazil is what is renamed Amazon. Before, it was called the Negro River, the Black River. It was part of what's called Negro land. That is our fucking home. People keep telling you you're from Africa. They're of a different fucking nation than you. Let your hair grow out. If your hair grows like mine, do not trim your fucking hair. If your hair just happens to stay short, which I doubt, if it's impossible for your hair to grow long, if you feel you just must cut your hair, that's not a trait of Shem. Ezekiel, what is it, like the 5th chapter, he cuts his hair for a prophecy. 1, throw a third of it in the fire. 2, dash a third into pieces with a knife. If you've got short hair, you can't dash pieces of short hair with a knife. It's already dashed. You would have to have long hair. You would have to be a nigga with long hair. He's from the land of Berbers. He was there along with a group of Berbers. I mean, he's from the land of Negroes. He was there along with a group of Berbers. So the Berbers looked like Martin, but Martin was from Brazil. Remember, they said from North Africa too. All the slaves were dark. Some were from North Africa. 1509, Valencia merchant presented a Laura 15 who was native de les Indies de la Terra Honaportan, Brazil. Alright, so that means he was from the West Indies, or he's from the Indies, right? So obviously the West Indies is in that area, right? In the land of Brazil. So he was snatched from Brazil. It doesn't say he's 15 years old. Where are the 30-year-old slaves? Where are the 40-year-old slaves? They couldn't take adults and put them into slavery. They took fucking children. The last one was a kid younger. This one's 15. This next one's 15. Do you see the pattern of this wicked shit? No fucking mom wants to go into slavery. They slaughtered the parents and took the children. February of 1515, 2 Negroes, Alo Oyo, now George, 15, De Hero Argo, now Alvaro, same place. So they're from Hero, and this guy's name was Arego, and they changed his name Arvo. This guy's name was Aoi, 2 L's make a Y, and then they changed his name to George. These were the only slaves in Valencia from Hero, which was probably Giro, Jerusalem, Giro or Trinidad. Giro. See? They're always, alright, man. Remember the fucking, their quest for the Holy Grail? They went to Jerusalem, right? When you go to the witchcraft bullshit and start searching up shit, type in Mayan or Aztec sorcery, and it'll come back. It will return with, get this shit, dude. It's Aztec magic, Freemason. So they set their armies against the Aztec to take their fucking witchcraft. So that's what they wanted. Somebody told me the secret once. Like one of the kings found some witches on the soil, so he killed them and he takes their witchcraft and he buries their witchcraft, their books and shit below his throne, so nobody can get to it. So when Jerusalem's overthrown, these guys later go back because they know the ancient story of what happened to their old books when they were cut down by this Israelite king, this Negro king. that protected the land. So when they tore down the wall and Rome seized the people, and in a 1,000 years past, these Knights of the Templar go in there and they dig up the throne. They needed to fight to get into the land to be able to take it. And that's what all that shit was about. And they want to tell you about Arabs fighting for the land of Jerusalem. So pay attention to these pictures. You don't see no Indians like this no more. Stop thinking about their hair. These Indian women, their males were killed off too. So these Indian women were placed in areas with black men from Barbados and slaves from where? African Moors that were enslaved from the overthrow of Europe that was sent here with Columbus. That's why some of you have wool hair now. Not all of you. Some. Four Blanco Indios, Old Miriam, now Antonio, 14. Something boy, now Isabel, 16, same place. Yaya, 14. And Parahimpo, 15, same. They were purchased in Portugal. It was probably Pernambuco, Brazil. So these people were snatched out of Brazil as well. 4 children. 14, 15, and 16. Where are the 20-year-old slaves? December 15, 16. 88 slaves presented. 85 from the island of Brazil. From the island of Brazil. Formerly pagans, but now Christians. Okay, you see that? They had to denounce their God. Whether they served the Creator or not, they had to denounce their God and become Christians. And 3 Negroes. A Spaniard testified that of these, he'd seen 23 Negroes die and taken them to be buried. Thus, the Brazilians were called Negroes. Now, does that tell you where your fucking home is? Thus, the Brazilians were called Negroes. Hence, the land was called Land of Negroes, or Terra de Negro, or Negro Land. Yes, I know there's a Negro land in Africa as well. They took you from Brazil. They took you from Mexico. They put you on boats, set you out to sea, and starved you for a week. How long can a human body last without food? Think about it. They starved you for a fucking week and took you and sold you what? In North America, once it was settled by Europeans. Other than that, in the beginning, they took your ass back overseas. They knew the currents here. That doesn't necessarily, they right away knew the currents back. Again, a current goes one way. They need to find the route back to be able to make a complete circle with their, what? Their slaves, their cargo. A Spaniard testified that of these he had seen 23 Negroes die and had taken them to be buried. You think these people are going to bury us? They probably dumped us in the ocean. You know how fucking much backache it would take to make 23 graves, or a grave big enough for 23? If they're going to testify that in court, they definitely probably dump those people at sea. No way they're going to put the effort in. If your best friend dies and you got to dig his grave, that sucks. Because not only are you now lonely because your best friend died, but your back is going to ache for at least a week. Have anybody ever been to a funeral home? Like when they were kids? Like back when most funeral homes could not afford a machine to dig up the ground, when they had to have the caretakers dig. All those guys are hunchback, like 5 years into that job. 5 years into grave digging, there's no other job you can do because your fucking back is done. Alright, so December 12th, Una Blanca, 1 black, Francisca, 14, of the island of Brazil. Island of Brazil. I keep thinking it says land, because Brazil's not an island, but they're calling it Island of Brazil. Brought from Lisbon, 73. I don't know why 73 is there, because they already said she's 14 years old. Page 40 of Africans and Native Americans. Now you see these Indians right here? Now the fourth one even looks Negro. Africans and Native Americans, page 40. The racist U.S. Census from the 1700s, 1800s, and 1900s that labeled Indians as black, mulatto, or African American. This is your heritage. This is your right to be who you are by blood, but denied by paper. Alright? Now, we are at the surprise. Has anybody ever seen this picture before? Now, we're Negro, and we're prone to say yes, so we don't look fucking stupid, because we're put at the bottom of the education system. But it's okay, because I'm sure actually many of you have seen this picture. This picture is the most important picture in my history. It's the most important picture in your history. It's fine and dandy that there is a picture of Montezuma that shows that the Aztecs were black. That's fucking fine. But this is the most important picture. In this historic picture, this is classified as Negro Abraham. Okay? It says Abraham, a black Seminole leader. From North Oars engraving, published in 1848 in the book The Origin, Progress, and Conclusion of the Florida War by John T. Sprague. Now, I told you, these are not children drawing these pictures. These are historians that are historical because of what they wrote. They wrote about the time they lived in. This is claims a Seminole leader. Now, if you go over here and you type in Seminole Indians, there we go. Seminole Indians. And type in images. This is what you see. You see this nonstop. You see this nonstop. They'll show you different shots of this. Now, when you see say, show me the 5 civilized tribes. This is what you get. In this, you get this motherfucker's picture every time. Every time. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. This guy comes up every time. But you never see this. You never see these dark-skinned people. You see light-skinned people. But you damn sure don't see this picture of Abraham. Or this picture. John Horse. Now, we heard about John Horse yesterday. Right? Look right there. Rebellion. John Horse. We'll open that in another window. John Horse and the Black Seminoles. Now, if I type in John Horse, you think this image is going to come up? I don't know. I've never done this. Hey, look at that. So this is John Horse, the leader of the Seminole Indians. But if you type in Seminole Indians, this motherfucker pops up. Am I drunk? Am I on crack fucking cocaine that I'm gonna believe that all of a sudden John Horse, the most infamous fucking leader of the Seminole Indians, just all of a sudden changed fucking nationality? This is how goddamn dumb they think we are! This makes me feel better. Seeing a lot of them still alive today. Well, some of them still alive today. So, when the Seminole Indians were at war with the Caucasians, the Indians were black. When the Seminole Indians become civilized, they're fucking a different color. When the United States says we went to war with the Seminole Indians, the first thing that pops up is Seminole Negro Indians with plaques. Alright? So you need to understand the difference between before and after the war. After the war, this is a Negro slave or a free man. He is no longer to retain the title Indios. They have taken Indios out of his title. He is no longer a Negro Indian. He is no longer a Negro Indios. He is now just a Negro. He is now a slave or an ex-slave, depending on how you view your supremacy, because it still exists today. Whether you think so or not. Jim Crow law has an end. You're not in that fucking skyscraper. They're sitting there making scenarios happen. They're making shit happen so they can pass laws over you. You're not African. You're American. You are the original American. And you don't look like this, so your forefather didn't sign those treaties that gave them the land. Your forefathers signed previous treaties that said we're sovereign and you're sovereign. Don't rule over us and we won't rule over you, and don't mess up the land or you go home. That's what we signed. These evil fuckers signed something completely different because they were poisoned. They were given mass amounts of poison. As we read like 5 videos ago, when we tackled the Chinook, some of the fucking people if they didn't sign over our land, they would have been poisoned out of existence. Now they're almost starved. And the only way that they're allowed to make money is to put up devil casinos to attract people to take away the fucking earnings. And then distribute that among the people that have the same blood within them. Because they're viewed as a goddamn trinket. Something to stamp on a hat or a keychain. Something to cheer for at a ball game. You play the fucking sport. Their facial image goes on it. Yet the white man makes all the money. And when this video is over, you're going to turn this off and you're going to watch those fucking sports. Because you're brainwashed. So, eventually, you're just going to say enough. And you're going to be like, I got to get my hands on this book. And you're going to type in Africans and Native Americans. And you're going to find it on Amazon for $27 brand new. You're going to find it used for $21. So there's no value in getting a used book unless you got under $30 on your card. Get the new book, and you got other people's fingerprints, and you can highlight your own shit. And this is the cover of the book, and this is why we see this picture all the time. Now, when some people see it, when I see this picture, these neck collars always turn me off, you know. But it seems to be the book to have. Alright, so don't ask me what the name of the book is, because then you'll just be proven to be psychotic. I mean, seriously. You're watching a video, you can pause, rewind, you can grab a piece of paper, you can open a new tab, you know. When we look at this book, now this is beautiful. This is great. Now, when we look at this book, I want you to see what comes up. All right, Western romance. That's kind of weird. American Indian Healing Arts, Herbs, Rituals, Remedies. That's kind of weird. True to Our Native Land, an African American New Testament commentary. That's kind of weird too. Indivisible, African Native American Lives in Americas. Now see, that's an interesting kind of book. Now look at this. That the Blood Stay Pure, African Americans, Native Americans, and the Precedent of Race and Identity in Virginia. That's the book we've been covering, we've been looking at, kind of, sort of, from, you know, a far away distance. You know, I want to get this book too, but, you know, I can't weigh myself down with a bunch of books and shit, you know, saying and trying to leave and shit, you know. But I think that's cool, you know, that, you know, seeing that this is a book that we've been covering in the last 10 videos. You know, we've covered that book twice. Again, just by title and commentary, that's excerpts out of it. But it's great to see that on this page where this is, you know, that what makes me know that I'm on the right track. I mean, this video makes me know I'm on the right track with this book, but certainly this book right here, That the Blood Stay Pure, because this is what proves to us that the Indios of Europe were Negroes as well. Now, when I say Negroes, it goes back to this video. Now, she says Negroes too, but we see in this video from this, shit, there's no point in leaving that page. We see in the video from this book that Moors and something else, Canaries, people from Canary, the islanders of Canary Island, were called, stamped as Negroes as well. So that is very interesting. Now, I mean, this book brings us a new term for Negro. We cannot sit there and say Negro is what we want. I can't sit there and say, well, because you say you're African American, you're not Negro, because you're classified as Negro as well. It's a term that has been changing and altering. It is a term that groups us all together, but at least looking as far back as the start of slavery, we can see, well, the start of this era of slavery, we can see different black nations, or at least the lands where they snatched each of us from, to help account for what was our previous titles, or who's all grouped together with us. So, again, now we have a black Seminole leader. One black Seminole leader. We don't know if he's the leader of the Seminoles as a whole. We don't know at what point he existed. We can always research it, and you know, ourselves, or you know, in further videos. But we have a name associated with him in Orr's book of blah 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 blah, and his name is Abraham. Now, I find it funny that you have a Negro or black leader of the Seminole Indians, a tribe of Indians. The name is Abraham. Now, I've made statements to state that it is obvious when you deal with looking for the 12 tribes that the Seminole Indians shall possibly, no, I'm not even going to say that, falls under the tribe of Simon. The name's clear right there. So, not only that, now we have a cartograph of one of the leaders carrying the biblical name, Abraham. So, you've got to admit this is starting to get way past exciting. Come on, you could admit it. We're reading literature. We're watching a video that's got a couple of images and a couple of quotes from leaders. It's not like this is something that people consider exciting. There's no explosions, there's no nakedness. Tell me you're not excited watching this. Come on. You gotta be tingling all your antennas must be just must feel like little rodents are running up and down your skin. You just gotta be jumping off. You know, if you're not excited, this truly isn't for you. Maybe the next video will be. Maybe 10 videos from now. Maybe no more videos will be. If you're European, calling yourself an American, you're probably a person that is used to denying that slavery was even as bad as it was, or only a few portions of certain towns had this going on. You probably try to ignore the reality that these things were happening everywhere in the Americas. Your ancestors kidnapped us. And your ancestors bought and sold us. And your ancestors married our women. And they did all this while you were still in England, before all of you poured over here. I want you to think about this. Look your family members in the mouth, in the face. Look them in the face. And think about, they didn't get snatched and drug away, kidnapped, raped, beaten to submission. They slaughtered our parents and took the children. Just like I said, you don't see slave logs saying someone that was 30. You don't see somebody that was 50. You only see people in their teens and younger being carted off into slavery. What happened to all those adults? Did they give them sleeping pills and then snatch the kids back in the 1400s? No, they were using gunpowder and cannons. And it's just like if you run up on a pack of deer and scare them, they'll diaspora, they will go in different direction. And these people hunted for the youngest, the slowest. They took the best of technology and used it against people to snatch children. This is your heritage, and this is how our heritages combine. Murder and child kidnappings. But Jesus Christ is King, right?
Anthropologically.
Study of bones. Anthropologically, study of bones. Dead humans at this point, since he's going to talk about humans. Means all bones, but we're going to talk about humans.
Dr. Leakey went to find the origin of man. Where did he go? Africa. Did he find the origin of man? Yes. Who did Dr. Leakey say was the first man on the earth? Did he say it was a white man, a yellow man, a brown man? Who did he say it was? Black man. So the white anthropologists agree, right? Wait now. How many of you have ever studied biology? Raise your hands high. Don't be bashful. Come on. Thank you. Now there's a man in biology. His name is Mendel. He's a Caucasian. I never met him. But Mendel was studying the genetic makeup. And Mendel said, dark skin is dominant. Light skin is recessive. Dominant means strong. Recessive means weak. Mendel said light eyes are recessive. Dark eyes are
fucking kicker. Alright, so what I'm going to show you is going to, of course, highlight something that I've been saying for a long time. Alright, so I'm very happy, and unfortunately my happiness is getting darker. Okay, so I'm very despicable. Yes, despicable. Yes. So I'm getting very happy. So it turns out we're at the 100-minute mark of African and Native American ancestry, and we're gonna buy this book. We're gonna film ourselves buying this book, because this book, man, what a book. I'm not a big book reader. I'm not a guy that gets a book and then reads the book from start to finish. I'm a guy that reads the book and then I find what I think is the gold mine, and then I'm already outside of the book tracking that gold mine. You know, trying to find the pieces of the nugget that are scattered till it leads back to the gold mine. But the gold mine could be at the end of the book, and I would never know because I don't finish books. Yes, I know that's ironic. Read. And yeah, I read, but I don't finish books. It's just because, you know, once you've been taught all these lies, and then something deviates you from what you've been taught, you're like, whoa, the truth is over here. And then when you're just staring at the truth, it's so much to take in. It is so much to take in. So what I'm going to show you is, this changed my whole fucking day. Like, I mean, wow. What I'm going to show you is hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. I was sitting here, I was gonna make a video because I saw some information. I was gonna make a video, bam, really fast, and then something happened. I reached for the Bible. I was gonna show you this, and then I picked a scripture that had nothing to do with it, absolutely nothing to do with it. And then I started reading the scripture, and then in my mind, it's as though I tried to curb the scripture to fit this. And it's not like I tried to twist the scripture. The scripture that I picked was enmity between, the seed and the serpent. The seed of the woman and the serpent. You know, I mean, really, it ain't even that far. In a next to scenario, you know, leg bones connected to the thigh bone kind of thing. Yeah, they connect, but it really has nothing to do with straight to the point. And I'm really shocked that happened. But as it happened, and as I was deleting what I was going to show you, it made me ponder about what I was going to show you. And then I thought about the trickery of what I'm about to show you. And no, not that I tried to curb the scripture, because I really didn't try to curb the scripture. It's just the best way to explain it, you know. But the trickery of what was revealed, that's leprosy is.
The white man cannot produce a black man. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing, are you listening to me? Who's the Native American? Whitey's not a native. Who's the native African, or so-called African? Come on. Who's the native Asian? Who's the native Australian? Who's the native of South America? If the white man is not a native nowhere on the earth, that means he's not natural to the earth, then the question must be asked, where did he come from?
All right, so that is a very valid question. If all these people do call themselves natives, then where does the non-native come from? Again, when we look at Wales, they say these people came from an island that's periodically under the sea. You cannot find this island. On this mythical phantom island, there is a entrance that leads to under the earth. When they speak of Greek knowledge, the Greeks talked about a place where you could go and it leads under the earth. It is where you find the boatmen. Hence, this stuff started with the pillar of the boatman, Isus, leading.
Dominant. Then Mendel went on to say, you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. What was Mendel saying? That if two white people were the first people on earth, we never could have come here. Because the white man cannot produce a black man. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing.
Now I want you to listen very carefully. Alright? Now, and don't get things twisted out of proportion. Not everyone that we call white people are white people. The class that you call Mediterranean, where the Pope sits, these people have blood diseases that are like your blood disease. In fact, their blood disease is actually like the opposite of your blood disease. Your blood disease, my blood disease, is sickle cell anemia. Their blood disease is thalassemia, something like that. Alright? They're not all the same. They're unified to be the same. Alright? But just listen, he creates a good point. And remember, there are Canaanites that are considered Caucasian because what the Bible calls leprosy, which is different from what man calls leprosy. So when you chase the Bible's leprosy, remember it's not going to say the same thing that man says.